Hello, welcome to Daily Wellbeing with Gemma. Today I want to talk about something called cognitive reframing. And in a couple of my other videos I've mentioned how powerful language is, and the words we use to speak inside our own head and to say out loud make a big difference about how we feel about certain situations and subsequently the decisions that we make. So I want to take a couple of examples of things that you might have been thinking or saying during the COVID crisis and just talk about how we can reframe them to something else. So we're going to start at the top with I'm stuck at home. And the problem with this really is that the idea of stuck has all the emotional content of being limited and reminding you of everything you can't do. And so it might help instead to think to yourself, well, I am safe at home. And it doesn't change the situation you're in at all, but it means that you probably have a sense of gratitude for the home instead, and you can just look at that a little bit more positively. You might be finding that you're saying to yourself, I miss seeing people, going out to this place, meeting work colleagues or whatever it is. And again, it's a positive to miss people. We can reframe that by perhaps saying, I am appreciating whatever that thing is. Now that we don't have certain things, we're realising how much they mean to us. And so that's another way of framing it in the positive, that it's really emphasising what's important to us. Sometimes our thoughts can be questions, so we might be thinking, what happens if I run out of this? And perhaps you can ask yourself a different type of question, because this really is focusing on the negative outcome that might make us a little bit anxious. And so perhaps the question should be, what can I do to, and it might be, what can I do to prepare? What can I do to make my resources last longer? What do I do if I run out? Who can I contact? And so those questions are focused on positive action rather than dwelling on this kind of lack of control. If we feel out of control, we tend to get more nervous. Some people are labelling themselves a little bit. So, I'm not as productive, I'm tired. And they're using it to kind of beat themselves up. And so you might want to think as well, this is different. We're not in a normal circumstance. You're comparing right now and how productive you used to be to each other, and it doesn't make sense. So this is different. I am doing my best. Or it might be, I am doing what I can. So giving yourself permission and recognising that this is an unusual situation, and so don't judge how you are now by how you used to be, because it's different. This is more about labelling ourselves, but we might be tempted to label other people. So, looking out of the window, seeing people wandering around, you might be tempted to judge. People are being silly, irresponsible, whatever it is. And there may be things going on there, but it's important to remember that you don't know what's going on for them. So perhaps instead of people are being and labelling them, you might want to talk about the behaviour. So people are, meeting up or whatever it is, you could label the behaviour but not their personality. And the other thing you can do, similar to here, people are doing what they can based on the information that they've got, based on the resources that they've got. There's a lot of, certainly here, there's a lot of media coverage of, people are out in parks, forgetting to tell the story that not a lot of people have their own gardens and outdoor spaces, and that we're perfectly allowed to go to the park. So try and avoid judging other people, because it will only get you stressed and tense, and it will create that us against each other culture, which we really want to avoid. So each of these examples is just a way of thinking about how your current language and self-talk is affecting your mood. if you catch yourself saying things to yourself that are dragging you down, how can you reframe them to look at the positive, to see kind of past the crisis for what comes next? So I hope that's helpful. See you again tomorrow. Bye.